Artistically, my gosh, it was a masterpiece.
It was incredible. I mean, everything you wanted. Lead changes, offense, scoring chances. Buried in there somewhere was actual good goaltending. And then, of course, a little bit of controversy. Ryan Reeves' fourth goal for the Golden Knights scored after a cross-check to the back of John Carlson of the Capitals. And, of course, the hit everybody's talking about the day after, the Tom Wilson hit on Jonathan Marchessault, it could have easily been a 5-minute major in the game, and people believe it should be a suspension afterwards.
Yeah, speaking of that, let's show what Kerry Fraser, the retired but long-time and much respected NHL referee watching this game last night in real time during the game last night, tweets the 5+ game misconduct for interference was instituted for the very type of late blindside hit Tom Wilson just delivered. Again, that was Kerry Fraser, who's done about 10 or 12 and Stanley Cup Finals. What do we think is going to happen here?
I spoke to a source at the Department of Player Safety this morning, Bob, who told me that they consider the hit to be a little bit late, but not egregiously late like some of the other hits of this ilk that have resulted in suspensions before. I was also told the fact that there wasn't head contact with the hit from Wilson on Marchessault, it was shoulder to shoulder, is going to be a big factor in their consideration as well. If I were a betting man, which I guess in Vegas you can be, I would say no suspension for Tom Wilson on this hit, despite his reputation and the fact that he was suspended previously in the Pittsburgh Penguins series.
What was the atmosphere like last night? Yes, it was great peak hockey, artistic. It was the first finals game ever for this incredible phenomenon. What was it? Describe what it was like.
It's one of the loudest arenas I've ever been in for any sporting event. The crowd was on their feet and cheering 15 minutes before the game. There were no players on the ice. They were just that amped up for the game. You had, in no particular order, Michael Buffer announcing the teams like it was a prize fight. You had a knight on the ice fighting Capitals interlopers with an active catapult. Between periods, it's usually like little kids playing hockey on the ice.
As opposed to an inactive catapult?
It's usually little kids playing on the ice between periods. They had a birthday party for Gladys Knight between the first and second period of the game. It was Vegas all the way through. And again, we're here at the practice facility, Bob. There were fans lined up outside 9:30 in the morning on a Tuesday to buy Vegas Knights gear at their store here. It's an incredible hockey town right now.
Let's talk about one of the more incredible stories. Be the absence of 21 years ago, going back 40 years, as long as you and I have been in this business, the Vegas Golden Knights. And what we were seeing, we had George McPhee, the general manager, on this show last week. And yeah, for $500 million, the buy-in, they had to get some better treatment than before in the draft. But you think that they had specifically something working in their favor?
Well, they certainly, I don't think they intended it, and I don't think anybody saw it coming, including them. I don't know anybody who did not pick them for last place in their own division. But here's the gist of it. They were offered essentially second liners. It's an insulting term in hockey. It means you're not good enough to be a first liner, or second pairing defenseman. The thing is, that's all they got. Every player on that team is a second line forward or a second line defenseman. So when their third line is out, it's actually second line quality. It's better than the other team's third line automatically to start with. The fourth one is even better than the fourth one of the other team. And when the second lines are both out, Vegas's second line is going to be talent-wise, baseline, better. And then it just becomes a question of how well your first line that you've developed does against the other first line team. Essentially, 50-60% of the time, they're stepping onto the ice with better players, which destroys the paradigm of how you put a hockey team together. Should you trade Connor McDavid for 8 second-line players? The answer is probably yes.
And we saw what the fourth line did last night.
3 goals in the third period.
Which is winning time, certainly.
Yeah.
But putting aside the mechanics of putting together this team and whatever they did in reinventing the paradigm of constructing a team, this storyline is straight out of fiction.
Oh, yeah.
Straight out of fiction.
Well, look, also just transpose it to any other sport. If this were happening in the NBA, there would be 24-hour coverage by the CBS News Division. It would be on all the canceled regular programming, and this would all be the only thing we'd be talking about. What's the bar for first-year success in an expansion team in any sport? The 93 Rockies got to the playoffs in 95, or the 61 Angels were in first place July 4th of their second year. This team has won a game, even if they get shut out the next 4, they've won a game in the finals of their sport with a team that was assembled, including buying the furniture 100 weeks ago.
For a team I think everybody would acknowledge of the 4 major sports, sits in 4th place.
Yeah.
It's been said for years that all the hockey fans are in the arena. Well, they're watching. I say NBC took this ceremony last night for 7 minutes. You could not have a better advertisement. And then they go and win a hell of a game like that. This is exactly what hockey needs.
And it suggests that you could energize any sport that needs a shot in the arm, or variety by giving them a halfway decent chance at some talent in their own expansion draft.
And then give them Siegfried and Roy.
Well, yes.
In the pregame as well.
And Wayne Newton with a permanent smile on his face.
His face uncreased by care nor years.